Okay, so we are way back in the woods, and I'm proud to say we finally made it to the fence. Sam brought the MP9, the Hyson MP9 out here because this thing has some great radial tires. It's also a really cool size. So back here, we needed some fuel for the skid steer. It's been working hard, and a bunch of fencing tools, some T-posts, but you kind of get an idea of why these cows are coming through here. Also, why it's so difficult. Now, I've already gone down here and kind of rode this fence line, and you can see, I mean, the skid steer on a hill, it's so heavy, it's just tearing a lot of stuff up, but I'm just kind of just clearing as much stuff as possible just to be able to walk through. But this is clearly a spot where we have a problem. So we need to go ahead and get this tree cut up, this fence brought back up, and then attached to that T-post. But I don't think this is where the cows are coming in because I don't see any signs of cow right here. So this is super hilly. I'm sure you guys can't see that, but this is gonna go, and again, my property line's kind of a little wacky jawed, but it comes out this way on a, I guess you'd call that like an angle or triangle. Then it goes down, then it goes way up. I don't know that the skid steer can even go up that grade. Maybe it can. We'll try it. It may be safer to kind of backtrack and go around this little horseshoe and then come back and go there forward this way. You know, I don't want to tip backwards on the skid steer, but really pretty back here. Lots of pretty trees, but this is why we couldn't get back here. All this stuff has grown up so much that, you know, this is insanely thick, but this Baumalight just eats it up. I mean, I don't know how I would have gotten back here without a tool like this. So doesn't look like there's any damage to any teeth, and it's been working hard. It had not had any more leaks, no issues. That must have just been, you know, one loose fitting. But Sam and I are gonna see if we can't get this fence a little bit more organized and a little more dialed in, because we're getting real tired of cows busting in over here, and there's just not a whole lot of effort to stop them. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, Sam, you got the chainsaw? So Sam's using the Greenworks electric chainsaw. It's a great chainsaw. And while you do that and cut that thing up, I'll fill up the skid steer with some fuel. And then if we can't move this by hand, we'll use the winch on the side-by-side to move it, or I could just push it with the skid steer. What kind of tree is that?
Solid.
I said, what kind of tree is that? He said, solid. Before y'all go making fun of my electric chainsaw, you guys need to back up on that. If you're not on the electric chainsaw wagon, you're missing out, because the electric chainsaws, oh man, it's heavier when you're pulling uphill. Electric chainsaws are awesome. And I'm a real big fan of that Greenworks chainsaw. Ooh, that's like the worst place I could have parked to fill this. But I needed to find a level spot. I need the key. I'm not gonna bore you guys with watching me fill a skid steer with fuel. So we'll be back to you when we got some good action. Watch your legs.
That has been there for a little while now.
Oh yeah. I told him months ago, or a month ago.
Yeah.
So why don't you, I'd bring everything on this side.
Yeah.
Because what's funny is I put these in. I did this repair.
You would think they would care about it.
They don't care.
This just stay on here.
take this clip off. Everything's a little easier. Man, did a number to this fence. It's kind of like a knot. You just have to undo the knot, and then everything gets real easy. Just be careful, because if there's a broken piece, it can fling up and hit you. So I'm not going to bore you guys with us fixing a fence, but what's going to happen is we're going to get this back up. We'll basically unfold what's folded, tack it all back in. I'll come back down here with some new wire and run 3 strands here. And it's almost to the point where this is so, grown in that it may make more sense just to put some more T-post on this side and even stretch, I don't know, something. But yeah, this has been an area of issue for a while. By the way, this tool, this little fencing tool, it's called the clip bender, but this is a fantastic little tool. All these fence clips, you can kind of get in there, work around it, but this one's going to be stubborn. It's not a great example, but like, if you want to get in there, put that little thing on there. Now look at that. See how easy that was? That is where the $10 tool sometimes brings you a whole lot more than $10 worth of enjoyment. I don't even know how much it costs, but I'll see if I can't find a link and put it down there, because people like those. And then you can come under it.
Oh yeah, you just twist it all over.
Hey, super easy.
That is.
Sam's putting a few clips in there. I'm gonna take this opportunity to walk the rest of this real hilly part. Now the skid steer should be able to match up with this fencing area over here. Got a couple cedars there, but I should be able to get, there's a big deer trail right there, but should be able to get some road system going to where we've got a road and we can get to all this stuff with a 4-wheeler side by side. And I'm not really seeing any areas here. Yeah, that's where the deer are getting through. There's a tree down, but it looks like that's on my side. Well, it looks like the fence is in pretty good shape from there. And I can handle this part. This is not fun, but, kind of is what it is. Little flying aircraft. Poke my eye again. Did that last week. Probably a bunch of animals out here wondering what the big mammal that smells like diesel fuel is doing out here. All right, Sam, I think we're good up until where we stopped before. Situations like this, power steering is very nice. Woo! It jumped on me. Four-wheel drive. Lock the rear diff. Come on. Yeah. Now we're talking. Well, friends, we fixed the fence. We found out where the cows are coming from, which is really the goal of this entire video. I'm gonna go back up here. I'll put some footage of that in here and kind of complete the loop other than that really steep part, which I could just do that on foot. You know, we can use hand tools for that, just kind of clear that out a little bit. But man, the Baumalight MS960, I know that I keep saying how amazing their equipment is, but I never would have done this without that piece of equipment. You know, this doesn't happen without that brush mulcher, because I mean, this would have taken weeks. 2 people with 2 chainsaws, we would have been back here literally for weeks trying to just get back here, cut ourselves a trail. And the right tool, man, right tool for the job. So I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna mulch myself on the way out, maybe open up things a little bit more. And then again, we're gonna go over into some thick briars and stuff, so you guys will get a chance to see that. But man, I appreciate you guys coming along with us. Appreciate you watching this video. Let's go cut some briars and we'll call it a day. So let's do it. I feel like it's deserved also that I give a little bit of love to the Kubota. This thing is tough. It's real tough. So give respect where respect's due. 5 gallons got us to half tank. That's good. All right, let's do it.